Hello and welcome back to the Amputee Angler. In what feels like weeks since I've last been fishing, the weather, it's been probably one of the worst I've known for a long time. We're talking many years. We just haven't been out on the boat. It's been impossible, or the odd little couple of hour window that we have got, I've had commitments, so it's been tough. I don't think the last time I went out was the Conger Cup. So as you can tell, we've come to a lake today. We've come to Sharnfold Farm Fisheries. We've been here previously before with my little boy Murphy, and he got bored after an hour and we went home. But it's something I haven't touched. I was trying to go to a few other waters, but they're all flooded. We've had Storm Ciaran recently come through and Babet before that. So water levels are up, and even the ground here is very sodden. I was unsure if I was going to get here. But we're here today. Starting off on the feeder, I've got an inline method feeder there, and on the other one we've got a standard cage feeder, and I'll show you that now quickly. Yeah, we've got a standard cage feeder on that one, and that's going to be corn and pellet to start with, just to see what's here. They say there's a lot of mixed species here. They say there's bream, tench, even barbel and chub in here, and there's meant to be some nice perch. So I've got a selection of baits. We've got maggots, worms, pellet, corn, luncheon meat, and we've got some swim stim ground bait, and we've also got some little 3mm premium pellets here as well. And again, that's Koi Technologies, you know, so we've come armed today to see what we can do. But as always, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. So I've got 4 swims baited up, 2 out to the back and 2 to the sides and the margins, and I'm going to alternate through. That way, give myself options for the day. If the far swims, and I'll show you the swims in a minute, if the far swims aren't working by the lily pads, I can drop inside, and I can also stick a float on later as well. We have got a robin nicking my bait constantly at the minute, but I'll show you him in a bit as well. So let me show you the swim, and then we can get going and get some bait in the water and go from there. Okay, so this is my swim. You can see I'm perched up down here. Now, this is where you come in, and this is my swim. So we've got a set of lily pads, maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 foot out to our front. So I've baited the corner up over here and some on the edge of the pads there. That's with pellet, corn and maggots. And I'm also going to feed this bit under this tree here. Overhanging tree is always a good spot for something. There's always something lurking around the trees. And then we've got another overhanging tree and a little tiny patch of pads here in this margin. So we're going to start off out there, see how that does, and then move in. And like I said, we can go to the float later as well. So let's get some baits in the water. Now, we're using a black ground bait today, and it's a really fine, it's almost like dust. What I've done is I've mixed it with the lake water. If I had any sweet corn, fresh sweet corn, so I'm using some old stuff from last session, then I would put my juice in there as well. But it's really fine. In winter, I like dark ground baits. I always did as a kid. And I've mixed it up just a couple of minutes before I'm going to use it, because what happens is the water absorbs and you find out that the texture's all wrong. That's probably a little bit too dry at the minute. So I'm just going to make sure I get all the corners out. Then that's good to go. Yeah, but that's what we're using. And we'll put a few pellets in there as well and a few maggots to bulk it out. And then we're good to go. My little robin friend's down here by my foot. There we go. So we've got our little method pressed in there. And I'm not, normally you tuck this into a method feeder, but I'm not gonna. And I've got a little tiny, I think that's an 8mm pellet, soaked pellet with a band around it. And I'm just going to flick that out, and that's going to go to the edge of the lily pads over there on my left hand side that I showed you a minute ago. And then that's it then, and we'll get the other one going. But first cast, I'll probably launch this straight into the trees, but we'll see. Oh no, it's pretty much as perfect as you can get that. Oh no, just clip the edge of the lilies. There you go. Cool. About 4 foot deep, I think. I literally hit the edge of the lilies, and then I managed to pull it out, but we'll see in a bit whether my pellet's still there. And I'm just going to rest that down, and then we'll get the other one out in a minute. Now, rod number 2's going out. This is just a simple cage feeder, and on here I'm going a bit of corn. I've got maybe a, I don't know, maybe a 12-inch hook length on there. It might be a bit long, but I can always shorten it down later. And I am actually going to put this one in close to start with. I'm not going to make too much disturbance around the edge of those lilies. So I'm going to just have the one rod out there on the edge, I think I'm going to move that one about as and when I need to. And then for now, I'm going to flick this one just inside here. It's not early morning because you can't get onto the lake till 7, so it's probably about 7:30, 8 now. So we've missed that first sunrise, but I'm hoping there might still be some fish in the margins. So let's flip this one out. Just going to do a little side cast in here, it's not very far. Again, that's perfect. Just where I wanted it. So we'll bring that down. And we are cooking on gas, as they say. Right, now it's time to feed the swims and settle in. Well, this is the pellet I was talking about, 3 mil, and rods are out now, and we've got some ground bait out, which is obviously going to be our ground bait, goes without saying, but tiny small pellets, a bit like hemp seed, you can really put a layer down, and when those fish come in, the idea is, because I'm going to be here for most of the day, the idea is that once they're in, I hold them in the swim, a bit like we did at Marsh Farm, for those that have seen the other video. You put the feed down, and once you get those bream, those tench or whatever in, they've got enough food to stay there and not have to wander around the rest of the lake. That's my plan. So I'm going to get a liberal helping of this out now. Like I said, they are only 3 mil, so they're quite small. They've got a robin on the tripod. You won't notice it, but there's a robin right on the axle of the tripod. I'll see if I can get a photo of him. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do now. Put that bait out, get ourselves fishing. Okay, so we've changed tactics. Not completely, but we've changed. So we've got a waggler out now, fish hard on the bottom. I've strung the shot out so the bait wafts down. We're on a worm at the minute, and then instead of a ground bait feeder, I've gone to a maggot feeder on the feeder rod. So feeder rod's off to the left margin swim, and the waggler is out back on the edge of the pads. Got a slight bit of wind, so it is drifting slightly, but we're trying here. So gonna keep feeding the swim and try and pick out. I don't want to be targeting small stuff. I want a bream, I want a tench, I want whatever else is sensible in here, but it is very slow at the minute, so trying the best. Yeah, very difficult. It's calm, it's not too coloured, but the fishing has just been very slow today already. I mean, we're only probably 10:30 now, so I've only been here a couple of hours, but I'd have expected something by now. I'd say I'm on the maggot feeder now, so that should have something, but we are really struggling. Finally, guys, we've got a fish. Oh, we got a fish. We got a fish. It's a lovely roach. Finally. Oh, we've only got a fish. I don't want to alarm anybody, but we caught something. Had to work really hard for that. That has been a blank saver, but that is a fish. Finally. There we go, first fish of the day. Taking a while, I've had to work for it, but it's a lovely little roach. Might even be a rudd. That's roach, I think that's a roach. There we go. Yeah, we've saved the blank. That's the main thing. It has been really hard today. I mean, it's only 11:30 now, but for a couple of hours by a lake with how hard we fished, I would have expected a bit more. I don't know this lake very well. I came here with Murphy in the summer and we had some perch and little tiny roach. But I hear there's a few nice fish in here, and I say the owner said a few bream came out a couple of weeks back, but a bit like boat fishing, what's there one day doesn't have to necessarily be there the next. So we have just had a bite on the feeder as well. I decided to whack the feeder out onto the corner of the lily pads, and typically the GoPro again died on me as I was playing the roach. Hopefully it's come out, but had a nice little pull round on the feeder and then it stopped. So hopefully now stuff's starting to happen and we can pull a couple of more fish in, because I don't think I want to be doing this all day today, but we've come here and we've tried and we've got a fish now, so that's good. So going to keep at it, try and pull a few more out, and hopefully we can see something substantial, but if not, we've got out the house anyway. Okay. Well, we're trying guys. It is tough. It is very, very tough today. I'm sorry this is going to be a slow video for you, but it is what it is. Fishing can't always be tearing sessions. It's just the way it goes. That is the end of what has been a very slow Amputee Angler session on the lakes. Not everyone's a winner, not everyone is a stormer. I never pretend it is, which is why you're seeing this video. It would have been easy to not just show you this at all, but I do post the failures in the slower days as well as the storming ones. You know, they can't all be tearing days. It's just it's why it's fishing, not catching. I've thrown the kitchen sink at it today. Method feeder, cage feeder, waggler. Baits wise, we've done corn, luncheon meat, maggots, worms, and pellet, and we've just had the solitary roach to save the blank, which actually now I'm quite grateful for. Jake, I just had a conflab with Jake round the corner. His dad's now turned up on a whip, and he's had nothing on the whip either, which is normally a small fish method, but for whatever reason it's just not happening here today. And I'm folding early. I'm going at 12 o'clock. I'm leaving. Sometimes just got to know when to quit, and I'm quitting early today. So thanks for watching though. Please do like and subscribe. Back end of the year now, we're coming up to the end of the year, so please do stick around. We've got plenty more fishing to do, and we've got big plans next year as always. So I'll see you all in the next one, and thanks for sticking around.